This is our first show for 1986, and I'm Officer Tom Von Hoff.
As a young rookie patrol officer at the time, Thomas Von Hoff was responsible for bringing the Lakeville Police Department into the living rooms of Lakeville residents back in 1984 when cable TV was just beginning to gain its popularity.
When we first got started with it, we were looking at, we knew the new medium was out there with cable TV, and it was a new thing at the time. And that we wanted to try and do something to reach out. And really the only models we had at that time were commercial television. And I remember at the time we were talking about kind of like a news program, but on a local basis, and then also having the ability to look into different issues a little bit more in depth.
Now, 25 years later, Von Hoff is chief of the department that he helped become one of the first in Minnesota to offer its citizens a police show. The program has since gone on to become what's believed to be one of the longest-running police shows in the country. Von Hoff cringes when he looks back at the images from those earlier days.
Oh, it's very humbling. There's no two ways about it. That when you see yourself 25 years ago, and the one thing about film is it doesn't change. So as we do.
Von Hoff says he and some other patrol officers took the idea of doing a police show to then Chief Rich Rademacher, who gave them the green light. Von Hoff went forward with the show, even though nobody on the department, including himself, had any experience with television.
We had no idea what we were doing at the time, and we had a cable person. We had one person who helped us out.
This is a good idea. It hadn't been done too often. You know, you didn't really see many cable programs by police departments in those days. And so it was a novel idea.
Dakota County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Dave Bellows, who worked in Lakeville for nearly 20 years prior to going to the county, became Von Hoff's sidekick behind the scenes, helping with the show's production.
I was the cameraman. I was the Jim Schiffman of the day.
Bellows vividly remembers those early days of Lakeville's police show.
The camera was about this big, and it wasn't high grade by any means. And you know, we would do our white balance at the beginning, but it didn't help a lot of times because, you know, they would look like the Simpsons every once in a while. The host of the program looked like the Simpsons in the color that would come across on the camera.
Chief Deputy Bellows remembers when the show didn't always flow as smoothly as one may have expected.
Back then, it wasn't unusual to hear either Dave DeMonic or Tom Von Hoff. One would say, well, you know, tell us about the burglary, and the other would be, oh, we had a burglary, like it was news to them.
Bellows is the first to admit it wasn't only the on-air talent that may not have been the most polished, but he also points the finger at himself as a terribly inexperienced cameraman.
It's not unusual to see one person talking, the other person's talking, and a little bit of a jerk motion to get over there. I was really into staying on the action, which was whoever was talking. So the early shows, you might get a little seasick watching them because that was just the lack of professional training by the camera operator.
We did a lot of shooting in the car because we really didn't know. We knew that law enforcement, of course, is a very visual medium, and what we do is very visual. But we really didn't know how to capture that. So we really tried a lot of different things. There was a lot of experimentation. If you look at some of the early tapes, and we went to different locations to see, you know, what it would be like.
It was only a few years after the show began when the cops turned camera operators were replaced with professional video producers through the city's cable department. The current video producer, Jim Schiffman, has been working on the show since 1990.
You have a city council that's very supportive of police and video efforts, and then all the chiefs of police that were, if not very involved in the show, they were very supportive of the program. So we've been very lucky to have people recognize the impact that this show can bring to the community.
When now Sheriff Don Goodmanson moved into the area as Lakeville Police Chief back in 1989, he remembers being a bit skeptical of the show, but he quickly learned how important the cable show became to the success of the department.
You know, initially, you know, you thought, who watches it? I mean, that was kind of my question. But then I would go in various parts of the city, but even more than that, I would go into Apple Valley or Rosemount or Farmington and meet with the chief or do something in their city, and people say, oh, hi, chief. And I'd say, oh, are you a Lakeville resident? And they'd say, no, but I see you on cable all the time. And then that's when I thought, wow, you know, this show, at that time, it ran in Farmington, Rosemount, Apple Valley, as well as in Lakeville. And I thought, you know, this show has value. And this is an opportunity to get the message out.
Sheriff Goodmanson's love for the Lakeville Police cable show hasn't died any since he left the department nearly 15 years ago. In fact, he wishes he could do a similar program for the Sheriff's Department.
This was a nicely done program 20 years ago, and it's even got better as time has gone on. I watch some other police shows, and what you essentially have is talking heads. You just have people talking, whereas you know, the Lakeville Police Show has so much action and looking at things and solid video, and they look out. They look out into the future. They look at the past, what's happened. It's a very well done program.
Police aren't saying much about the alleged kidnapping tonight, simply because they're sifting through all the details themselves at this hour.
In 2000, a television news crime reporter from southern Minnesota turned police officer took over as the show's host and has been at it ever since.
I'm Officer Rick Bussler with the Lakeville Police Department. We're excited to be with you this month because we have a new name for the show.
It was also in 2000 when the show changed its name to LPD Journal to reflect a more professional and modern-day image of the department. Since 2000, the show's current producers, along with ever-changing technology, have taken the program into uncharted territory. The show has won several state and national awards. 2 years ago, the show began streaming on the city's website. And just last month, stories have begun being shown on YouTube.
As it's evolved, of course, it's gotten much higher production values, much more polished, and much better at really reflecting what our department is.